From the roar of a Harley to the iconic Death's Head patch, one name echoes through the annals of outlaw culture: the Hells Angels. But where did this legendary motorcycle club come from? How did a group of post-war thrill-seekers evolve into a global phenomenon shrouded in myth and controversy? Today, we're peeling back the layers and riding through the history of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Our story begins not in a dusty biker bar, but in the skies over war-torn Europe. World War II had just ended, and thousands of young airmen and soldiers returned home to a society that felt slow and mundane. They were trained for combat, accustomed to adrenaline and the tight-knit camaraderie of their units. Back in civilian life, many felt like outsiders, restless and yearning for the thrill they'd left behind. The motorcycle, particularly the powerful American-made Harleys, offered an escape. It was fast, loud, and dangerous, a perfect vessel for their untamed spirit. In the late 1940s, motorcycle clubs were popping up all over California. These weren't the one-percenter clubs we know today, but rather groups of enthusiasts who enjoyed riding and racing together. The term Hells Angels itself has roots in aviation, used by bomber squadrons in both World Wars, famously depicted in the 1930 Howard Hughes film of the same name. It was a badge of honor for daring flyboys. The official birth of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club is dated March 17, 1948, in Fontana, California. A small group of veterans, including members of former clubs like the Pissed Off Bastards of Bloomington, came together to form a new, more organized charter. Early on, the Hells Angels were just one of many clubs. Their reputation, however, would soon set them apart. A key moment in their rise to infamy was the 1947 Hollister riot in California. A motorcycle rally got out of hand, and sensationalized media coverage painted a picture of a town under siege by drunken, lawless bikers. A famous, though likely staged, photograph in Life magazine showed a burly man on a Harley surrounded by beer bottles. This event cemented the public image of the outlaw biker. In response, the American Motorcyclist Association supposedly stated that 99% of motorcyclists were law-abiding citizens, inadvertently giving birth to the one-percenter patch, a badge worn with pride by clubs like the Hells Angels to signify their place outside of mainstream society. The 1950s saw the club solidify its identity under leaders like the legendary Sonny Barger, who founded the Oakland, California chapter in 1957. Barger was a charismatic and shrewd organizer. He understood the power of image and structure. Under his influence, the club became more formalized. He instituted stricter rules, regular meetings, and the iconic Death's Head patch, a design adapted by Frank Sadalek. This wasn't just a logo. It was a sacred symbol. The colors, the vest bearing the club's patches, became a member's most prized possession, representing a lifelong commitment to his brothers. By the 1960s, the Hells Angels were counterculture icons. They wrote alongside the beat poets and were romanticized by writers like Hunter S. Thompson in his seminal book, Hells Angels, the strange and terrible saga of the outlaw motorcycle gangs. Thompson spent a year riding with the Oakland chapter, and his book offered an unprecedented, gritty look inside their world. A world of fierce loyalty, brutal violence, and a rigid code of honor. The Angels were seen by some as modern-day cowboys, the last free men in a conformist America. This romantic image, however, was shattered at the Altamont Free Concert in 1969. The Rolling Stones hired the Hells Angels to provide security, paying them in beer. The day descended into chaos. The atmosphere grew tense and violent, culminating in the tragic stabbing of a concert-goer by an angel during the Stones' set. The incident, captured on film in the documentary Gimme Shelter, marked a turning point. The public perception of the Angels shifted dramatically from rebellious folk heroes to a dangerous, violent menace. Following Altamont, law enforcement agencies intensified their scrutiny of the Hells Angels. The 1970s and 80s were marked by numerous high-profile clashes with the law. Federal agencies like the FBI and ATF launched extensive investigations, culminating in major RICO, Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, indictments. Prosecutors alleged the club was not a fraternity of motorcycle enthusiasts, but a sophisticated criminal enterprise involved in illegal activities. The Angels, for their part, have always maintained that they are a club of individuals, and that the criminal actions of a few members do not represent the organization as a whole. They argue they are unfairly targeted and persecuted for their nonconformist lifestyle. Despite the pressure, the club not only survived but expanded globally. The first international charter was established in London, England in 1969. From there, the Angels spread across Europe to Australia, South America, and beyond. This expansion wasn't always peaceful. In places like Canada and Scandinavia, the Angels' arrival sparked violent biker wars with rival clubs as they fought for territory and dominance. Today, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club has charters on every continent except Antarctica. They are a global brand, with their Death's Head logo being one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. The club actively protects its trademark name and insignia, suing companies and individuals for unauthorized use. They organize charity events, toy drives, and blood donations, presenting a more community-friendly face to the public. Yet, the shadow of their outlaw reputation remains. They continue to be classified as an outlaw motorcycle gang by law enforcement agencies in several countries. The debate rages on. Are they a criminal organization disguised as a motorcycle club or a brotherhood of misunderstood rebels unfairly targeted by the establishment? The truth, as it often is likely somewhere in the complex gray area in between. The history of the Hells Angels is a story of brotherhood, freedom, and rebellion. It's a story of how a group of post-war veterans seeking adventure created a legacy that is part myth, part reality, and entirely American. From the open roads of California to a global presence, the roar of their engines tells a story that continues to fascinate and intimidate over 75 years after it first began. Thanks for watching our deep dive into the history of the Hells Angels. What are your thoughts on this legendary club? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this ride through history, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Until next time, ride safe.